Hello, are you able to hear me? Good evening.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir. Hello, sir. Sir, I had an operational query.
Are you able to hear me?
It is too noisy, sir.
A lot, like too much noise.
Just give me a second.
Some kind of buzzing or some wind blowing kind of sounds or noise.
So is it better now or? Hello.
Yes, comparatively better. Little better.
Slightly better.
Yes, sir. Now it's
It's better, but it's a little bit noisy. It's in the background.
okay. How about now?
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay, so please stop me. There seems to be some issue. I think I cannot solve it right now. If it's too bad, at some point, please stop me and let me know.
No worries.
Yeah.
Now it's good.
So we can use if statements and loops here now, can we?
No, just give me a second. I want to make sure that I'm audible so that Yeah, so what I'll do is maybe I just rejoin so that this gets solved.
That's good, sir. Now I think it's good, sir. Now I think it's better.
It's okay, no?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
quite
sir.
good.
Now
It's
it's
quite good. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
It's good.
much better. Nice, it's nice. Good.
All right, okay. So yeah, so now what we'll do is we will discuss week 2 practice programming assignments and some kind of open session, a mixture of these two. We can you're allowed to use if statement. So if you're not a beginner, then you have to, if you are already familiar with Python, you should restrict yourself to if statements, and loops are not yet taught. So all right. So the process that we'll follow is quite similar to what we did last time, but since this is, this has been released last week itself, I am hoping that many of you would have already solved this. So what I'll do is I'll directly go and look for solutions that you have written down in the chat, and then I'll copy that solution and I'll ask the person who coded it to explain it. Okay, so that's the process. So the first problem is very straightforward. So can someone share the solution? Okay, Kavita has shared solution first, so I'll probably take that. Okay, so set okay, so Kavita, can you please explain the line by line what you are doing?
Yeah. Actually, I'm actually taking the input and converting it into integer. And if it is greater than 0, I'm printing positive, or if it is less than 0, I'm printing negative.
All right, so that's straightforward. That's all you need to know to solve this problem, right? So that is the correct solution. I'm sure that everyone would have solved this. So if there are other solutions, maybe I'll just quickly take it. All right, so maybe with this solution itself, let's just play around a bit. So you have to accept a integer and print positive if it is greater, negative if it is less than 0, right? So all right, so Kavita, since you answered, since this is your code, what will happen if I replace this with else? Am I allowed to do that?
No, because there can be a situation where it can be 0 also. But you're mentioning the condition, so I think it's okay.
All right, okay.
But we will delete the condition here. No need to check.
No, if we delete the condition, it
false.
will also give negative for p int equal to 0. That will be wrong.
Okay, is this code?
Else function cannot, accept a condition.
Oh yeah, right.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, my
Okay,
bad.
so the else clause doesn't come with any condition. So this is also correct. But as you
0 will be accepted over here. So
right, as you pointed out, but since the problem states that it's going to accept a non-zero integer, we can maybe get away with writing an else.
Okay.
Okay, so all right, so I think other solutions are going to be quite similar, so I'm not going to spend any more time on this. If anyone has a doubt or something which is not clear, please stop me, otherwise I'll just keep going. So PPA2, likewise, I just quickly state the problem. You are given a function, right, which is piecewise defined, meaning there are different branches of x or in different intervals in which the value of the function is given. We have to accept this x as input and we have to print f of x, right? That's as simple as that. Basic computation we need to perform. You have this extra statement that you have to accept input and output as real numbers, right? Meaning they should be processed as float values. So solutions have started coming in. I'll take someone else's solution. AP. So what is AP? What is your name? I need to know your name.
Sir, it's Aditya Pathak.
You're
This is the answer to the previous question. I'm sorry. This
Okay.
is the answer to this question.
Okay. Where is the answer to this question?
Sir, I haven't yet. This was, I mean, I posted it a little late.
All right, that's fine. So let's maybe take up Avinash. Avinash is posted next. Okay, so yeah, Avinash, can you please explain what you have done here?
Yes, sir. So basically, I've accepted a input and converted into float because the question says so, to convert into a float. And basically, as per the condition based on where the x lies, I've just defined the f of x f_x value. And the one thing that I did a mistake when I was solving it was I initially assigned f of the else statement, the last statement, as 0, and all the private cases were not passed. And I just saw output should be a real number, so I just put 0.0, and all the private test cases were passed. So that's one thing to note.
Yeah, that's an important point because it's very common to use 0 instead of 0.0. So that might have been a.
Sir, why does it matter 0.010?
Because we have, I think, mentioned that both x and f of x should be float values. Matters because we have mentioned that here. See, otherwise, while evaluating it, it will be a problem, right? So, for example, if you print the output as 7, the output is correct. 7 is mathematically you are correct, right? But as far as the computer is concerned, it is 7.0. So there's a difference between 7.0 the float and 7 the int, right? So that is why we are explicitly stating that f of x should be float.
All right, sir.
Okay, so yeah.
So I have something doubt in this code.
Yeah.
Yeah, sir, please show that code.
Okay, you want to see the code? Okay. Which line is not clear?
Yeah, sir. If so, there we can use only if.
That's a good point. So let's see. Can you're asking if can we do something like this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what do you think? Is that allowed?
Can I answer?
Yeah.
It is allowed, but the problem with this is it will compute it twice. It will first go through the if statement, and it will again go through the second if statement as well. Whereas it could have been avoided by just using elif, because it will be second else statement will be used only if and if the first statement is false.
Right. So that is true. But from the point of view of correctness, this is correct, right?
Yes, sir, that should be correct.
But it will be computationally more intensive.
See, just one line is not. See, we are like talking about. See, this might take
single line of code, yeah. But
yeah,
it will end up being a bad habit later on. That's what.
True. Yeah, that is true.
I had one more doubt.
Yeah.
Like we are just stating f of x is equals to f x plus 2. In place of that, can we write directly print and in bracket x plus 2? Like directly the function which need to be printed if x is between 0 to 10.
That's fine actually. There's no harm in doing that. So the reason this is kind of slightly better is whatever you see here is the print happens only once, right? So you don't. What you could also do, as you said, is print x plus 2 and print x square plus 2, but then you'll be writing 3 print statements. Instead of that, what we are doing here is we are creating one variable fx and we are directly printing that, right? So in terms of in terms of readability, this I would say is better because you just compute, you have a very clear input x, you know what you're doing in each branch of the if else ladder, and finally you are printing that computed value.
Okay, sir.
For the print, actually, if and else if will not be working, sir, or it will be working. Means they are in the loop now. That's why I'm asking.
Sorry, can you come again? Repeat your question.
As you have written, print or there just in the fourth line kind of thing. It should be working, no, sir. I mean, if it is there, it will be printing. Otherwise, it should not be printing. It will be going to else if kind of thing. So the repetitive of printing may not be possible because they are in loop kind of thing. Is my expectation is correct?
No. So yeah. So what I meant was, this is also correct. So this is not wrong. So this is a valid solution. Let me just type the whole thing. So you could code it up this way also. This is not wrong, but all the time and was that the previous one is better because it's kind of clear, right? So this is one solution. The earlier solution.
I do agree to that one, sir. But this will execute the same answer.
Yeah, it will work exactly the same. The output will be exactly the same, and also the execution will also be same. Right. Okay. So I think again.
Sir, can you please write this code from starting?
Sir, one thing.
Yeah.
Sir, can you please repeat why two if statement is not feasible? Means it's not good.
Two if statements. Okay, so the reason this is not bad, but the claim that is made by one of the other students, in which I also agree, is that if this passes, right, if this succeeds, if you enter the if block, then if you had an else if here, you wouldn't be entering into the second if block, because in an if else ladder, only one of the statements, if or else if statements, gets executed. Whereas if you had written this down as if, right, even though this gets executed, this condition check will also be there.
But sir, the condition will not be executed because x cannot be less than 10 and greater than 10 at the same time.
Right, you're right. So what I meant was that this condition will be checked.
But that will go to else statement and will print 0.
That's a good point. Yeah. So that's a good point. So this is wrong. Yeah. This is very good point. So what we should do here is we should make this also if. So what is the other ways, right? I mean, this naturally makes it all the more cumbersome. So what is the only other option? The only other option is to see whether x is less than 10, less than 0, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so that's what I'll do is for some of.
Why can't we just use elif here?
I think it will be x.
That's what we are doing, right? That's the whole point. So there was a question about why it's not about why can't we use. That was the first solution, and then there was a subsequent question which asked if we can replace elif by if, right? So I am just.
But obviously we can replace it, but it won't be as efficient as that.
No. See.
It's going to be checking all the three conditions. Then.
See, that's what I told, right?
To check the three conditions.
No. See. Please. This course, I repeat again. This course is not about efficiency, right? Especially when you have a class with a lot of beginners who are coding for the first time. The thing that matters to me, at least as an instructor, is are they able to get this code working correct, right? Correctness is first. Efficiency comes next, right? So if someone writes a code like this, if a beginner writes code like this, I'm perfectly fine with this, right? Maybe in week 3, week 4, after they have written 100 lines of code, they'll figure it out themselves, right? That this is more efficient or there's a better way of writing it, right? But if we insist on efficiency right from day one, that's going to discourage a lot of people, because first thing is, are you able to pass the public and private test cases? That is all I'm bothered about, right? We'll come to efficiency. Let's not be harping about efficiency from the beginning, right? So that's
absolutely right.
So one more question, sir. Why else in the 7th line was not wrong?
Yeah. So we'll come to all of that. So as someone requested, I will start from the beginning. So 0 to 10. 10 less than or equal to x in other ways, right? So you accept first value and right. So this is f underscore x. So there are 3 branches to consider. So if I were coding it for the first time, then what I'll do is I will process this as 3 different if statements, right? Let's look at it that way. So x lies between 0 to 10, then I print x plus 2. If x lies between 0 to 10, I will set fx to be x plus 2. Okay. Now, since these intervals are mutually exclusive, right? I hope you get what I mean by that. 0 to 10 is completely cut off from 10 to infinity is completely cut off from minus infinity to 10, right? I'm sure most of you who have done max 1 will know this. So the next disjoint interval is what? 10 x greater than 10. That might be that could have been a better.
X greater than equal to 10.
Yeah, so x greater than or equal to 10, right? So x greater than or equal to 10. Then you set this to be
greater than. Yeah.
Yeah, so x greater than or equal to 10, right? Or 10 less than or equal to x. And finally, x less than 0, you set it to 0. So if x less than 0,
I think it will be
less than. Sorry, it should be less than equal to. Because equal to is not.
Yeah. Okay. So now actually you don't need this, but we'll come to that, right? So what I meant was you don't need this if. So let's print f of x and make sure that this passes all test cases.
So the so the 11th line does not have equal to, shouldn't have equal to.
Oh, is it? No, right? It should have, because you are going from 0 to 10.
No, so it's inequality, right?
Okay, so this should have equal to, right? So next what we do is, okay, so this, someone had a question, right? Why should this not be else? Okay, let's see. So let me replace this with else. Okay, in fact, I have 2 questions, right? There are 2 questions. Is line 11 even needed? That is one question.
No, sir.
The second question is, independent of the first. Can I replace line 11 with else? Okay, so what is the answer to question 1 and what is the answer to? Okay, this became.
So line 11 is needed.
So line 11 is needed.
Line 11 is not needed because we are
Line
already
11
initiating.
is not needed, sir.
But then x is 0. So but then x is 0, then
We are already initiating
Sir,
f dash x equal to 0.0 at the top, right? So if x is not satisfying both the above conditions, it will be still 0.0.
Okay, that's the answer. Okay. So line 13, right? No, it became line 13. So line 13, actually, I don't need to check because of this, whatever Kavita, I think what someone else pointed out, that we have already set fx to be 0.0. So there is some noise. Can you please mute others? Yeah. So you actually don't need line 13, right? The answer is not needed. Okay, so that's a different question. Now, what about, can you replace line 13 with else?
Not in this scenario.
No, sir.
Not in this scenario, sir.
Okay,
Sir,
but
if line 3 is there, then we do not need to write that. But if line 3 is not there, then else would be needed there.
Right. So yeah. So let's do that. But here,
why can't we use else here? We can use else here, right?
Yeah, we can use else here.
So can I answer this?
Yeah, just one second. I'll just make this point clear that you can use else here, it's not wrong. But again, if you can.
No, sir. This else will be wrong over here.
No. Because
the
we
else will
already
be
covered our first two bases, and what we have left to check is the otherwise part, right? So else covers otherwise.
So
See,
they are.
see.
Covered by else.
If x satisfies the first if condition, okay, that is it's between 0 and 10, correct? Then fx will be x plus 2. Then it will again check the if
Right. It doesn't
condition
have
second.
Exactly.
Right. Then
It
it
doesn't
will
have
not satisfy this condition. Then it will go to the else part and it will become
Exactly.
0.
No, it
Even
won't
if-
go
That's
to
like
else.
that CT question.
See, if any of the if is satisfied, it won't go to else. That's what it means, right?
See.
No. The
it will
first
go
if is
to else.
executed,
It
no?
will
if
just
else
see the
this
first else before, like it will see the if statement just above the else one.
Right. So we
yeah,
can't use that
exactly.
here unless we use LF in line 8, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Could we please check whether this works? That would be better, right?
Yeah, that would be better. But even better would be if we can convince ourselves that this logically is not correct, right? So.
Why this line number 3 is required? You can delete line 3.
Yeah, you can delete line 3. So just give me 1 second.
Still it will work.
It will still work. So please, so there's some noise. Can you please mute whoever is?
Some noise is there.
All right.
Sir, one question, sir.
No, just give me a second. So there are like too many of them speaking, so we kind of lost track. So let me just get back to this question. So line 13 earlier that was the earlier question. So that is done. So can someone give me one input to this code where this will fail if you use an else here?
X equal to 5, sir.
So any input between 0 and 10.
X equal to 5. So if we have x equal to 5, what will happen? So this will, ideally this should only pass, but this else part will also get executed. So it will become 0.0 and it will fail, right? So this else here is wrong.
So there's one more thing, so one perspective.
Yeah.
Sir, from PPA, from the point of view of PPA, I don't know why your f of x is used in the first place, because f underscore x, that is. The x is going to accept the input. Then we are just going to proceed with if else statements or if whatever. If you are hard coding f of x like this, I don't know what is the purpose of this f of x. There is no need for f underscore x, I guess. What we do is we get some value, the user inputs, or in this case, from the test cases, the input is given. X is picking up the test case values. Then it's going to if it checks between 0 and 10 first. If it is between 0 and 10, you will straight away say that yes, you are going to use x plus 2. If it is not, then it is going to do x squared plus 2. Otherwise, finally, the only thing is 0. So there's no need for any f underscore x at all.
No, but it makes my code more readable, that's all. So in this case, I know that I'm computing some fx that depends on x. In the case that you said, I just know that I'm printing some random numbers, right? So I would still prefer this, even if here's the point, right? So moment you say that your code is working, then the second step you have to look at is my code readable, right? So it's not enough if I pass the test cases. It's very important that you are passing the test cases, but the next step is, have I used the right kind of variables? Does it make sense to someone else reading the code, right? So
one more thing is, whenever this hard coding, like we are initializing like the f of underscore x is 0.0, I saw that in one of the cases in week 1, if you are initializing some variable, it's giving an error. It will give an error because the input, the statement, whatever statement you are giving input, that's the only one which is accepting. I think if we can run this, we can check whether we are getting any error or not. So
let us run this.
Yes.
No, I don't understand. So what do you mean by hard coding? This is obviously wrong. What the code that we have written is wrong here. So Okay.
Yes, sir. That's because I think we have that f of x.
No. This has nothing to do with f of x. This is wrong because of the else statement. See, it is passing 4 out of 5. The one test case that it is missing is because it lies in this range 0 to 10, and it's getting reassigned here. Right? This has nothing to do with why using a variable fx. This is perfectly fine. In fact, I want to use fx.
Okay.
So that the ideal, this is the solution which is correct. Yeah.
Basically, when we select like when the input is 5, so the first fifth line, sixth line gets executed. But after that, we again enter into if, and that's why the else will also be executed.
Yeah. So we again
Sir,
check
okay,
for
sir.
this condition. Yeah.
So I got it.
All right. So I think we have spent enough time. This might have cleared up few points. Yeah.
Sir, one last question. I think I will not take much time.
Yeah.
So this is seventh line. Even if we put the elif also, still we are getting wrong output. It will not work because I just checked also, because I think what is happening is that first if condition, if it passes, then it is directly coming to else condition.
No. It should not. This should work. This should work. Let's see.
No, it's not working. Probably you can check it. I just tried
Probably
that.
some typos there, but
I think in the construction
should work.
No, it's working. So there is nothing wrong with this. So see, if you have an if else ladder, the moment, so the whole idea of the if else ladder is that one of the conditions will always pass, right? So either it could be the if, it could be the else if. If none of the if passes, then directly you go to else. So at least one out of the one of the steps in the ladder will certainly be executed. That's the whole point of if ladder. Okay.
Okay.
Actually, else is used for if all else fails, else will be executed. So this is actually correct. In if else structure, else will execute only if all other things fail.
Right. Yeah. Only if all, otherwise you don't need the else.
Yes.
Okay. So we are now moving on.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So can you go to the previous question?
Yeah.
So when we are using only if and else, so else part only gets executed when just the preceding part is false, right? Only in that condition it will get executed. Am I correct? If we are using only if and else.
If
Yes, Karthik. If the second if will get false, then the next else will be executed.
Yeah, my question is kind of generic. So when does else get executed if we are using if
the preceding if is getting false?
So if you have an else ladder, then you go linearly from top to bottom. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say your function is even more complicated. It has several other pieces. Say this is from 0 to 10, instead of it's from 0 to 5. And then you check from 5 less than x less than or equal to x less than 10. You do something else, say x plus 3. Then in this case, what will happen is you will start from the top, you will check for each of these conditions, right? At the moment one of them gets executed, when one of them evaluates to true, you enter that particular block. So in this case, let's say x equal to 7. So this will fail, this will pass. So you set fx equal to 7 plus 3, 10. And then you ignore. So you naturally come out of the entire construct and you go to line 40.
Yeah, that I understood. My question was if we use if only instead of else if.
No, if you use if only, then this, if you use if all the way, right, and there is only a final else, then this is only mapped to the. Just a second. Yeah. So when you have something like this, this else is mapped to the immediate if preceding it. It has no relationship with all these things. It's totally independent of.
Yes, I got it. That was my question basically. When does in such a scenario else get executed? Only if the preceding ones is false.
Yeah. So you have basically two constructs. One is the if else, the other is the if else, and the role of else is slightly different in both.
Okay, got it.
One question I have.
Yeah.
Why again you have given on line number 13 again fx equal to 0? It's already initiated, right?
Yeah, so in this case, we don't need, yeah. So here, if you're talking about this particular piece of code, you don't need to give this. Either you can avoid this or you could, remove, yeah. All right, so is that any other questions in this particular problem?
Yes, without line number 3, we can write this code.
Yeah, without line number 3, this will work.
Else statement will be executed only just for the depending upon the previous one, if only.
Yeah, it depends only on, so,
Only-
no,
only-
not. Here it depends on all the if the entire thing that precedes it. So, right, okay, yeah, here also you're right. So this else will get executed only if all the if and else if fail. Right, is that okay?
Not here.
Yes, sir.
In other, the previous one, the statement will be executed on depending on the just previous one if.
Yeah, in this,
just
yeah,
previous if.
In this only the previous
Yeah,
if,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Only previous. If else if is there, then depending on all the other else if, it will be executed, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
If here, only it will depend upon line number 8.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Else will be executed depending upon the line number 8.
Exactly. So this if else goes with the immediate if that precedes it. Okay, so I hope that is clear.
Okay.
All right. So, yeah. So solutions
Excuse
for
me, sir.
this.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
So in the previous code, what if in that code we write only if statements and not else statement?
That we just saw, right? So if we,
No, in the end also we will not write else statement.
it will work, right? Because the intervals are so defined that they're all mutually exclusive. So
Okay, sir.
it doesn't matter in this case if you replace all if everything by ifs. But generally, this is dangerous to do if you have some kind of tricky conditions. You might get
Yes,
trapped.
sir. Okay.
All right. So yeah. Now we'll move to next one. We take up we look at easiest solution. We'll take Ajay Kumar's solution.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So can you explain the procedure, what you have done?
Yeah, sure. So let me see the question. Yeah. So clearly, in the question they have mentioned that if t value is more than 24 hours, it will be like invalid, and even if it is less than 0, also it will be invalid. So that is the condition I have converted into if condition. So the loop will start if and only t value is greater than 0 and less than 23, less than or equal to 23, and then if it is between the t value is between 0 and 5, it will be like night. If it is less than 11, it will be morning, and less than 17, afternoon. I have used elif condition. That is the reason we can eliminate that. We can eliminate that the and part. Actually, you don't need to write like t is t is greater than or equal to 5 and t is less than 11. So those things we can avoid using the elif condition. That's why I have used the elif condition. And if if t is less than 0 and more than 24, it will give us that invalid output.
Okay, so let's first go ahead and execute your code. So it is invalid only if it is greater than or equal to 24, right? So that's why you have said less than or equal to 23. Okay, fine. Yeah, got it. So let's test run it. Right. Okay, so this is one solution. So there could be variation. So this is an important point. I am not sure how many of you got this. So let me just ask that question to the others. See, there is that thing t less than or equal to 17, right? So where is the t less than or equal to, okay. So 12 to 17 is what is afternoon. But here this else if condition reads t less than or equal to 17. So can just one of you tell me why this still works correctly?
May I?
Yeah, Sumit, yeah.
Yep. Sir, over here, first of all, this code will test that the number is between 0 and 23 or not. First of all, if it is between 0 and 23, then the nested if, we can say, will work. Otherwise, else will be executed and print invalid. Now, after, if it is the valid number between 0 and 23, then it will go to the t greater than equal to 0 and first if in the nested one, and it will check if the t is greater than equal to 0 and less than equal to 5. So first of all, I guess there is a one thing missed, that is it is also invalid on 0, less than 0, I guess. So that we need to take care of. So
But
now
that would
yeah,
got
it
that,
will be
right?
executed in else. Fine.
Yeah.
So if it is between 0 and 5, then it will print night, right? Now if our number is higher than 5, then it will go to the first elif. Now it is already there that the number is not less than or equal to 5, the number is greater than that. Now it will check that number is less than equal to 11 or not, right? So if it is less than equal to 11, then it will print morning. If it is not, then it will go to the next else if part. That means two things are already satisfied, that the number is greater than 5 and as well as greater than 11. So that part need not to be mentioned over here in the condition. Now if it is more greater than 11, then it will go to the next elif and will check if it is less than 17 or not. If it is, then it will print afternoon. Otherwise it will check that it assures that the number is greater than 17 as well. Now it will go again in the next elif and it will check if it is the number is less than 23 or not. If it is, then it will print the evening.
Okay, so just since you explained so far nicely, so can I remove this? This will work?
Yes.
Okay.
Sir,
one question.
There's a redundancy here in line number 4. We don't need to check for t greater than equal to 0 when we've already put an if condition for
Yes,
that.
that's what.
Yeah,
above
that
line.
is true. Yeah, we can remove this as well.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is one solution. Let me see.
Here in line 3.
Sorry?
In line 3, do we have to put this t is greater than equal to 0 and t is less than 23, then going into nested loop?
We need, right? Because it should be a valid, it is valid only in the range of t greater than or equal to 0
Yeah,
to...
so means just same as given, t less than 0 invalid, t less than 5 night, and then next t less than 11 up morning or whatever, same way.
Right, so yeah, can you tell me the question?
Should I share my screen?
No. So can you tell me what the question is?
I'm saying like line number 3. Do we need to write this line number 3 and again going into nested loop?
You're saying why not just say t less than or equal to 5 and be done?
Yeah, line number 3, t less than 0 invalid. Then next lines whatever is same.
Okay, so you're suggesting a variation of this different way of writing this code, right?
Not to go into nested loop.
Yeah, that is also fine. Yeah, so that's what I'm sharing one such solution by someone who's that. I don't know whose I copied, but I just paste that here. Whoever copied, please tell me whose this is, whose solution this is. Okay, so this is
mine, sir.
Yeah, Rishabh. Yeah, so this is another way of writing it where you don't have else if, and similar to the previous question, right? So Rishabh, can you tell me why this works?
Because
yeah,
it is defined for mutually defined for every value. Sir.
Right.
Every value have their specific printf statement. That's
Got
why.
it. Right. So these are all again, as we saw, mutually exclusive, right? So TOD less than 0, TOD greater than or equal to 24. All these are very well defined intervals. So it is all right if you use if, of course, you will check even though this gets executed, you will still have to check all these things. Right, but that's fine. Yeah. So this is another way of writing it. That is also something you have to know. Okay, so any questions so far?
Sir, can you please go previous code?
Previous code. Instead of that, we'll take up some other code that looks similar to this. Okay, so let me.
It's the same.
Yeah. So the nested one, right? So that is what you want.
Nested if.
Is that nested solution? Yeah. This is the nested one. Yeah. Okay. What is your question?
Yeah, sir. Line number 9, sir. 9.
Line number 9. Okay.
Yes, sir. Here, why we can use the else?
Yeah. So as Smith, I think, explained, right? So you keep going down, and every time one of these conditions evaluates to false, right? You get a new bound for t. So when this fails, you know that t is greater than or equal to 0, but t is not less than or equal to 5. So t is greater than 5. Moment this fails. So if this fails, you know that t is greater than 5, right? And likewise, if this can, okay, by fail, what I mean is if it evaluates to false.
Sir, if we replace all the elifs by if, still it will work, right?
No, that is dangerous. So we'll come to that. I just finish this. So if this is false, then we know that t is greater than 11. If this evaluates to false, then we know that t is greater than 17. So when you come to this particular line, or line number 9, you already know that t is greater than 17 and less than or equal to 23. Right? So from this, I know, yeah.
But sir, here we can put the value greater than 17, like 25.
Yeah, but then this will evaluate to false, right? You won't even enter this if block. If it is 25, it is invalid. Okay,
so the last
sir,
else if we can put as else, right? Because you said now we know that this should be greater than 17, greater than equal to 17.
Yeah, that was the question. So that's what he asked. Why is it that you can replace it with else? So that is
okay, sorry.
Okay, so if you replace all of these with if, then you have a big problem, right? So what is the problem? So what will be, okay, if I enter a value, say 18, what will be the output of this piece of code? Can someone tell me the output? I just want the output. Let's come to explanation later.
Night, morning, afternoon, evening.
Night, morning, after evening. All the 4 words will be typed.
So if t is 18, what is the output?
Evening.
Evening.
Only evening?
No.
No, the
all the way
entire
from
thing
night
will be
to
printed.
All the night, morning, afternoon, and evening.
Okay, it's only evening, right? Here, if t is 18.
Only evening.
Should be only
It will be evening.
Okay, what should be the value of t? I'll ask it this way. What should be the value of t so that everything, night, morning, afternoon, evening, everything gets printed? What should be the input so that that is the output?
23.
Value between 0 and 5.
21.
Anything between 0 and 5 will
Right.
print the entire thing.
Anything
21.
between 0 and 5, as many of you pointed out, will be giving you a result
Which will print all of the timings.
right. So it will print everything. So if is bad, so else if is, that's why else if is needed. And of course, this you can replace by else. So any other questions regarding this problem?
Yes, sir, I had one. So can you please go to the code?
Yeah.
Right. Sir, so here, the way I did it, it was, the most, the most, obvious one, that is, you write every condition and you print them in subsequent if, elif, and else statements, right? So for t greater than 0 or greater less than 0 and greater than equal to 24, you print invalid and such, and you keep doing that for every condition. So I had to use or and right here, and this person also has also used and here. So in this thing, so we can also use those instead of writing and, we can also use those double straight line things, right? Which we which is this operator for and, or we can use these ampersands, double ampersands.
No, that is only for C++, C++. It doesn't work for Python.
But in the Python, sir, in the Python ideally, which I use, sir, I use the main Python thing shell. So in that, double ampersands work, and double those straight lines for or, and exclamation mark for not. That works.
Okay, but I don't know why
it's not.
It
is.
So I can show my screen if you like.
No. See, unnecessarily why we have half of them in this meeting, they don't even know what double ampersand is. They don't even know what double whatever this or is. Why confuse them? Python is designed to be simple for beginners. They have a very nice.
No, I'm not. So I'm not trying to confuse people. I'm just saying that it's not working. It should work, right?
Honestly, I don't know. See, this is the third term in which I am an instructor for Python, and this thought has never crossed my mind whether we can use double ampersand or not, because you have this language. This language offers you three operators, right? Three logical operators, and or not, and it has words for it. That is all it matters, right? So why conflate some other language's operator with this language?
So I mean,
yes,
not.
Yeah. So actually, those symbols are synonyms of this and or, so that will work. That's fine. But I guess as it is for beginners level, so I guess we don't put these kind of discussions over here.
Not just that, right? Even for an advanced programmer, I very much doubt if anyone would use a double ampersand or a double vertical line in place of and or. It's unpythonic, I would say. Right?
No, I mean, it becomes, I mean, when we're using not, for example, when we want to, check a condition when x is not equal to, t is not equal to 5, for example, right? When we want to check a condition. So it would be much easier to write, t exclamation mark equal to 5, rather than we use brackets, or we don't use brackets, right? Not t is equal to 5.
No. We obviously use t not equal to 5 is very much Pythonic.
Yes, sir.
I never said so. I mean, come on, see, there are so many places where no one uses not of t double equal to 5. That's not what I meant. But what you are suggesting is use this double ampersand and double whatever that's called, the or operator. That I would say is not Pythonic.
Yeah, it has not been defined for the beginners. We don't know this.
Right. So that is all my point. I totally see. You can. I understand that you are interested in this facet of Python. I appreciate that, but in the interest of beginners, we should probably refrain from doing those things.
Experimentation can be done afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So you're saying that we can't use these things with Python, right?
I don't know. See, for example, I haven't used double ampersand at all, and even if you tell me, let's say this is new information to me, right? And I will not use double ampersand in the future
Yes, sir.
also.
So double ampersand, I think lot of us have not come across.
Yeah, so let's please leave double ampersand, and I also don't know, and I also won't use double ampersand even if someone tells me that it can be used, right? So sorry about that, but
No, sir, absolutely not. So it's
yeah. Okay, so okay, I just want to show one particular solution to this problem, which so there is a way of not using any of these operators also. I think Rishabh Kumar's solution I already shared.
Yes, sir. We can replace this operator by mentioning the range, put the TOD in between and the lower and up greater than both ranges side by side.
Right. So this is one more. So finally, we are moving on. Okay. Okay.
So what is TOD?
TOD, I think, is time of day, if I'm not wrong. Is that correct, Rishabh? Rishabh is the owner of the code.
Yes, sir. It is correct.
Time of?
Time of day.
It's a variable name that he has chosen.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was a good choice. I mean, but the only thing is that it preferable to not use capital letters, because usually the programming practice is to use capital letters for constants, right, and not for variables.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so yeah, accept a point and find the region where this point belongs to, right? So that's the question. So many solutions are there. So let me take up a solution by someone who has not so far. Which is also easy on the mind. Which of these is that? Just give me a second. I'm just picking the answer that I would like to share. Okay, I'll just pick one at random. Maybe I'll come back to the others later on. Okay. Seems simple. Okay, then this is written by Afreen. Am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yes, sir. Afreen.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, please, can you explain what you have done?
It's actually very simple, kind of like I have taken it in float because the accesses are real numbers. And the input was asked to be given in 2 lines. So X variable for one and Y for the other. And I have mentioned in all if conditions that if X is equal to 0 and Y is also 0, then we have to print origin. If X is greater than 0 and Y is greater than 0, then it will print first. And if X is less than 0, Y is greater than 0, second, so on. And the 14th line says that if it is X is equal to 0 and Y is not equal to 0, then it will print X axis. And if x is not equal to 0, y is 0, it will print y-axis.
Right, so let's just run this just to be sure that it works. All public cases have passed, and okay.
So this is what I was telling you about, right? So we can't use exclamation mark here. It's not giving the output for exclamation mark. We have to use not.
No, I have used exclamation mark.
That is
Before
not
I was
That's what
working.
I'm saying.
That cannot be
That's
true.
exactly what I'm saying, that it's not accepting exclamation marks.
No, come on, boss.
It is working. It's
No,
working.
that's not the problem. See, something else is the problem. It's exclamation mark
The
is not the problem.
last two if conditions are wrong, I believe. It should be y-axis and x-axis.
Yeah, you have interchanged
Yes,
x
sir,
and y.
yes, sir, yes, sir.
That is the only thing. Nothing else.
Yes, sir.
Just make sure that it works. You are not subscribed to this course. Come on, man. Subscribe. So when this happens, so in the exams when this happens, right?
Yeah. What happens and why it happens?
It happens. So we have not been able to figure out why. So the general tendency that everyone has is to press this refresh button. Okay. So please remember, in the exam, don't panic and press this refresh button. Just click on the back button. If you press refresh, what happens is that the code that you write usually disappears. Okay. So please make a note of this.
The whole typing goes.
Everything and anything you. So see, when this is another thing you need to know about the portal, which is test run doesn't save your code. Submit only saves your code. So in the exam, every 5 minutes or every 10 minutes, please click the submit button. So that's another thing you have to remember.
Submit button will save the code.
Submit button will save a copy of your code. So for example, let me go to week just to demonstrate, because it's important. Otherwise we forget.
A number of times it happens. That's what we have.
So let's see. This is some other PPA. I'm test running this. Okay. So anyway, it doesn't pass. So I refresh it. If I refresh it, what happens is that, okay, surprisingly it is there, but usually it goes off. Okay, so please keep submitting just to be safe.
Yes, sir. Most of the time it goes off and typing vanishes.
Yeah. So coming back.
So you just press the submit button, right?
You have to press. Yeah, you have to keep pressing so that you don't miss out on. Okay, so where were we? We were in this point where if it is 0, it is y-axis. If x is not 0, it is x-axis.
In the GPA also, sir, we can submit for the saving purpose. Next time you can correct it and resubmit it. No problem at all.
Yeah. Okay, so that was one minor problem with the code. Just the swapping of x and y-axis. So this is one way of solving the problem. It's very similar to previous problem. You have only if conditions all the way, right? And since they are all mutually exclusive, one doesn't impinge on the other, so you can safely do this.
Now it is running. It is fine, sir.
Yeah, this passes all 7 test cases, private test cases. So we look at, obviously there will be some variations here. Let's go for. Yeah, I was looking for someone who has not passed all test cases. That is very useful to study. Pankaj's score is not passing all test cases. So
yes, sir.
Let us
The
see.
same error is there, y-axis and x-axis.
Oh, it's the same error, is it? Okay, but
Yeah.
it's a slightly more subtle error, meaning it is not a string. Okay, so please, it should be a string. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. String is.
Okay, so let's just make sure that it passes.
Y-axis, sir. X is equal to 0, then y-axis.
Okay, sir.
We
I
need to switch
understand.
them as well.
Thank you.
Right, but
Line number
this
13 and
is
15, we need to switch.
yeah. So this is a slightly different solution. So let's spend some time here. This is different from the previous one, at least.
Yeah.
So Pankaj, can you explain? Okay, this may be redundant, but still, can you explain why you have used else if here and why not if?
Sir, because in some cases only few certain test cases pass if I use only if, so I use elif, and it is also readable. So I thought it was perfect.
Okay, okay. All right. So this is again not what I was. This is this correct? So let's look at one more. I'm looking at. I want something where someone has nested their if conditions. Has anyone done that? Some kind of a nesting. Can someone point me to that?
Yes, sir. I have my first answer.
Okay, I will go to yours. Where is yours? Can you tell me the timestamp?
Yes, sir.
7:58. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Ah, nice. This is nice. Okay, can you? Okay, instead of keeping on asking people to explain, so this is nice, right? So here there is the previous solutions are not wrong, but there is some nice structure here to the code. So okay, so let me ask this question. Maybe you Sarthak, right? This is
Yes, sir.
so either Sarthak you can answer or someone else can answer. So if I were to name this block, this entire if block from 5 to 11 as something, I want to give it a name, okay? Some fancy name. What name will I give it? What name can you give?
On the right side of y-axis, I guess.
Right, exactly. It's a very good name, right? So this is the right half of the xy plane, right? Or to the right of y-axis, right? So this would be what then? Left half of the plane, right? And then what name can I give this?
On the y-axis.
Right. So this is
axis on the axis.
On the axis, maybe. Okay. So this x-axis.
Not entirely, right?
Yeah, not entirely. So maybe yeah. Let's
On
just
the
say
y-axis.
on the y-axis. So okay, I just maybe slightly modify your code just so that it. Okay, so if I'll remove this x-axis from here. Oh, but x less than 0 you have, right? So there's no way I can remove it from there.
Yes, sir. It's a different.
Yeah, okay. On the coin, let's not try to complicate it. So see, this is what I would like everyone to see here, especially beginners, is there is a way of dividing your code which represents your thought process, right? So this is one way of thinking, right? Even before you start writing code, I think what Sarthak has thought about is the point could either belong to the right half of my xy plane, or it could belong to the left half of my xy plane. So that immediately gives me two conditions in which I can break my code, right? So if x greater than 0, then any point that is on the right of the xy plane, I should then write my conditions appropriately. If it is on the left half of my plane, then I have to write certain other conditions. Okay, so this is a very good practice, and it will be helpful in the future, right? So it comes to practice, right? You can't write it maybe on day one, but yeah.
So I had just one small question. So it's about. So I'm disclaimer. It's about I'm talking about efficiency here. So I'm just asking that, sir, we are writing the same piece of code twice, right? So but the readability is improved, or something is improved, right? Instead of efficiency, right? You're maybe talking about. You were talking about good practice here. So would it? I mean, like I said, the same piece of code has been repeated twice. So what takes preference here? The efficiency or the the thing which you said good practice for?
Any day, I would say readability is better than efficiency. Industry, see, this efficiency business is actually it's too much hype, right? So industry needs efficient code, but if you go and ask industry experts, I don't know if anyone is there here on the call, they'll tell you that readability is far more important than efficiency. It's not so. Programming is not about writing efficient code, right? So programming is a way of is a why do we call it a programming language? Because you want to express your ideas. And why do you use a language? Not just to talk to yourself, right? You want a language so that you can communicate what you want to say to someone else, right? So most of your time in industry you will be reading someone else's code, and if someone writes wonderful efficient code but it is totally unreadable, then that would be a mess actually. So efficiency comes third, right? So first thing is correctness, then readability, then efficiency.
Okay. So what if you are at a developer level?
At a developer level, it's very important that you write readable code, because developers every day, they don't think about efficiency, right? So I doubt that. I am not a developer, so I don't want to comment more than this. I'll be overshooting my domain of expertise. I'm just a Python instructor, someone who helps beginners learn Python. So I should not overstep my zone of expertise, but I'm very sure that readability stands right up there, right? You need to have beautiful code that you can actually read. Efficiency, I think, comes later.
Actually, even as a developer, I think you have to debug the code at times, and if you can't understand what you wrote a month ago, it's hard for you also.
Right, yeah. So I think that's the famous thing, right? So people tend to forget what they wrote themselves, leave alone other people's code or other developers' code.
Yeah, actually, sir, there is a saying. I may sound a little bit wrong over here, but the saying is like that any duffer can write a piece of code which he or she can understand, but only a good developer can write a code which everyone can understand. So it is a saying in development environment we have.
Right.
So the readability is on topmost priority.
Right. So see, efficiency is very interesting thing. We'll come to that, right? So we are certainly going to reach that level where, so for example, we'll look at one algorithm called binary search, right? So in week 8 or week 7, we'll be looking at this binary search, and Professor Sudarshan's video, if you look at it, he would have demonstrated how writing that piece of efficient code saves you a lot of computational time, and you can search for an element in a list so quickly, and if you had to do some kind of a linear search, it will take a lot of time. So of course efficiency matters, I'm not denying that, but in week 2 of an introductory programming course, maybe not. Okay, so yeah.
Okay, so I have one question.
Yeah.
So can we write like if x equal to 0 and in brackets y is greater than 0 or y equal to less than 0? I mean, I know we can divide into 2 if loops. I'm just asking that can we write this statement in this way?
Okay, I didn't. Can you tell me? I'll just write it down. If
x equal to 0,
okay,
and in brackets maybe, yeah, you can and y is greater than 0,
okay,
or y is less than 0. So if I write like this, will it execute the code?
So this is syntactically correct, but what? So y, this simply means this is just equivalent to y not equal to 0, right?
Y is not.
Yeah, that is fine, but why would you want to write this way?
I think I could have written like y is not equal to 0, something it didn't get, I mean, it didn't strike in my mind, so I was writing like this. Yeah.
Okay, but this is not wrong, but yeah, so but I think y not equal to 0 is kind of easier on the mind also.
Yes. So, but still it will execute, right? I'm just asking that and or combination kind of.
Yeah. So okay. So if you it's a different question if you remove the bracket. Okay. So if you remove the bracket, then a whole host of things changes, right? You have something called precedence rules, and let's not get there.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
But if you are
no, I
using
want to
the-
put it in the brackets. I want to put it in the brackets. Y is greater than 0 or y is less than 0. So I mean, before that it has to follow that x equal to 0. It has to
yeah, then you are safe. You are as long as you have the brackets on, you are safe.
Okay.
Okay, so I think we have to move on to PPFI. If someone has any question, please stop.
So for me, it's passing only 6 tests. So
Okay,
I
then
just
we'll
wanted
take up
to cross check.
this question. Is it PPA 5?
The last one.
Okay, where is your code? We'll finish that and come to this.
Just a moment, I'll paste it here.
Okay, we'll quickly look at that and get back. This is your code, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so preferable to name it X and Y, okay, because makes it easier. This here I have to do that conversion of X to A and Y to B.
Okay, sir.
So this is origin, this is Y axis, this is X. Okay, why is this alone X axis? It may not be. Okay, so this is not Y axis, right? I mean, this is a part of Y axis. There's only half of Y axis. Right? So you can probably say this is not equal to 0. And likewise, here you should say this is not 0, but okay. I think that's the only thing, if I'm not wrong. Okay, so that was the only problem. So you are saying that it should be greater than 0 or instead of not equal to 0.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, so in the interest of time, let's move on. We have 10 and we are at 5. Okay, just okay. We'll take GK score. GK can explain. Okay. Yeah. Can you please explain what you have done here?
Yeah. Actually, the first 4 inputs are the point values of x1, y1, and x2, y2. And the fifth line is the input of x3, which we'll be getting. Then I have checked the condition for a vertical line, because when a line is vertical, the x values will be the same. So in considering that, I have checked whether x1 is equal to x2. If that is the case, I'm printing it as a vertical line. And next, the same condition is applying for a horizontal line. When it is a horizontal line, the y values will be the same, the y point values. So I'm checking that, and if they are the same, and I'm printing it out as horizontal line along with the y point. So next, when these two conditions are not met, I'm going to the else condition where I calculate the slope and calculate the value of y from the equation of line. So if the slope is positive, I just print the positive slope and the value of y. If that is not the case, I just print it negative slope and print out the y value.
Got it. Yeah. So this is perfect. So just a few changes.
So, but y3 is not factored in here. Actually, there's a lot of there's restrictions given.
Can you please mute?
Actually, I have a doubt, sir.
Okay.
Just unmuted, but
yeah.
Now it will not be there. So actually, there are restrictions given in the question, sir. But is this test case passed? I just wanted to check because they have given that first thing is we have to derive y3 from all these things, and then subsequently they derive the slope.
No, right?
Yeah, I have just mentioned it as y. It's not y3. I have kept it as y. That's it. That's the difference.
Because here again you are calculating that m and all actually, but I think there's some restrictions given in the question.
No, right?
There is no actually restriction. I have just replaced the variable name Instead of y3, I've just kept it as y.
No,
That's
no,
the difference.
that's fine, but I'm talking about m also. You have introduced another variable m, right? So
No, it is good, right? In fact, it is good. So they are
Yeah,
asking
it
for
is
the
called
slope.
EWT.
We need to print the slope, right? I think we don't need to print the slope, but that's an intermediate step. Calculating the slope is an intermediate step. So that needs this variable. I mean, of course, you could do without that, but it's good to have this variable here.
So can you go up? So because it says only 2 lines after that, they mentioned that the 6th line, that is after you are derived your y3, that should the output will be only remaining 2 lines where you are going to print the value of y3, and the next one should say that whether it's a positive slope or a negative slope or
correct. Yeah. So what is your question?
So here actually we are deriving subsequently we are moving to m, then we are moving to y, and then we are having another if else. So I just thought maybe the restrictions given in the question are not being factored.
No, right, there is no restriction in the question, right? So the question doesn't ask you to do it in a particular way. The question is just saying, first print the value of y, then print the nature of the slope. That is all it's saying. So whether you compute the slope, you have to compute the slope before you can print whether it's positive or negative, right? So that is what is being done here.
Because I thought number of lines they have mentioned, I thought maybe they are restricting number of lines. That's why I haven't.
No.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So
thank you.
yeah. So just few things, right? In this code, this is not wrong, but what I would say is dividing this into two print statements is kind of safe. Okay, so I would put it this way. It's not wrong. I mean, what you've done is not wrong, and just for better understanding.
Yeah, we can keep it in 2 lines.
Yeah. Right. So I just move this to just a second. I just finish this and print y, and then print the negative slope. Okay. So yeah.
What was that slash? I have one question. When I was doing this problem, I faced only one issue about that vertical line. So since we have in the test case we have like x2 minus x1 equal to 0, it is coming like x1 equal to x2. But what if during the test during the exam, what if we are not able to click that mind that okay, x1 equal to x2 could be like vertical line? I mean, this is kind. I mean, that will not be part of our programming, right? So at least in question, it could have been given directly like okay, x1 equal to x2 something like.
See, you have done qualifier, right? And then only you are inside the program. So is coordinate geometry part of Max 1 qualifier?
Yeah, it's in week 2.
Yes, it's there.
Yeah. So see that
I'm
then
just
that
saying, yeah.
That is the understanding, right? See, another point is programming is not like it's not exclusive of mathematics, right? So
okay, yeah.
Certain things, if it is beyond the scope of what we have taught in say the qualifier, certainly we'll give that data. So
yeah. No. I completely understand. What I'm saying is that maybe during exam, if it didn't click out, then yeah, that is what I was saying. Yeah, I completely understand.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so this is one solution. Of course, you could have other solutions.
Sir, line number 14.
Yeah, so there are two questions, one by Sandeep and another one by someone else. I don't know, but we'll go one by one. Sandeep, then.
Yes, sir. Line number 14, I have not understood.
Yeah, one second. It's passing all test cases. I just wanted to verify that line 14 you can understand, huh?
Yeah, sir.
This is just the slope equation of a line, right? This is just y equal to mx plus c, or y equal to m into x, whatever, x minus x1 plus. This is just this equation. So
mx plus c.
We are just using this equation and rearranging it basically.
I've just rearranged the equation mentioned in the question. That's the thing.
Right. So that is all that's happening here.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
So in line number 7, why we have taken this x1 equals to x2 kind of thing?
Yeah, because when it is a vertical line, if you draw a vertical line in the graph, the x points will be the same only for any point that you take in a vertical line.
Yeah.
Because it
Okay.
is parallel to y-axis, so y value only will be changing, but the x value will be constant. So I'm just checking that directly over there instead of calculating the slope.
So can't we take something in form of y, like y equals to 0 or something like that?
If y is equal to 0, yeah, I can do like that also. But I have chosen this way. But since if you're taking y is equal to 0, you have to check for both the points. y1 is equal to 0 and y2 is equal to 0. You have to check like that. So I just did it like this. That is the only thing. You can
So
do it
see,
like that also, I believe.
it's not just that, right? So if x1 double equal to x2, your slope is kind of not defined. It's infinite, right? So if you don't do this, you will get caught here. You will be dividing by 0, which is not correct. So you...
Yeah, that's the also thing, additional thing I wanted to mention. The slope will be undefined, so we cannot calculate it at all. So initially itself, I'm correcting that, checking that actually.
So should we take like this x1 equals to x2 kind of thing if slope is undefined in this line number 13?
See, this the if x1 double equal to x2, then you can't compute the slope. So that is why you actually divide this into these three parts: vertical line, horizontal line, and then where the slope is non-zero. If it is non-zero, it could be positive or negative. So that's the division. So if you look at the whole the way GK has defined it, it is one part of it is for vertical line, and you do it first. In fact, you should not do it at the end. If you do it at the end, you will get you'll be dividing by 0 at some point.
Okay, sir. Sir, one more thing I need to ask. Sir, how can I share my code with you?
You can paste it in the, if you want me to look at it, you can paste it in the chat.
Okay, so in chat box.
Yeah, I mean, is there any particular problem with your code, like not passing test cases? Then we can look at it.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir, can't we share screen?
You can, but it's better if you paste the code and then you ask me which line you have a problem with.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
So line number 17.
Yeah, 17 you have.
Sir,
yeah.
Yeah, sir. Here, why we have not put x2, y x3, and plus y y1, why not y2?
So yeah, see, you want to find y3, right? That is what you want to find. You want to find y3.
Yeah.
So you are asking, so see, this could be x2 and this could be y2. That is fine. If that is what you're asking, then that is correct. There's nothing wrong with that. Is that what you're asking? Is that your question?
No, sir.
Okay, then what is your question?
Yes, I understand.
Okay. All right. So is there any other problem with this particular PPA? If not, we'll move on.
Yeah, I have one doubt actually, Karthik.
Yeah.
Actually, will the in this portal we have the test cases input and expected output values, right? Will it be the same in the exam also during the online portal exams?
Yeah, it will be the same. Yeah.
Yeah, because I had an initial confusion in this because I actually inputted all the values as int initially because in the test case all the values were integers only. But I couldn't get the expected output. Then later only I checked out that the expected output had a float value also.
Okay.
So how do we know that whether the inputs need to be float or not? Because in question it is not mentioned anywhere, I think.
I think if it is given real number, then it should be float. So yeah, see, all the inputs are to be processed as real numbers. Then it means it has to be float.
Okay. So if it has to be processed as real number, means we have to consider it as float only.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine. Thank you. That's it.
All right.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
So when will we are going to have our next session so that we can ask our doubts?
Next session will be on Tuesday.
So I think there's one session on 11, and that session is solved with us. So can we ask our doubts in that question session or not?
You can, I mean, see, there's no rigid demarcation between the sessions.
So because in solve with us, we are not generally able to get our doubts done there.
I mean, you can ask. I don't think it's a problem.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
One question, sir. PT1, some PTs are there, programming tests or like that. In the week two. What is that exactly?
Sorry?
PT. Within the course.
Yeah, so that is just extra problems.
That is required to be done.
Not required, but it will be good if you do it.
Okay, that is a practice, right?
Yeah.
TPA is not compulsory, it is not graded, right? It will be
right.
Any number of times we can do TPAs, right?
Yeah.
And that test also, PT also.
Right.
Thanks.
Okay, so this we'll move to this PPA 6. Okay, Ravina, I'll take up your code maybe then next for this. Okay.
Python 3, sir, one question. This Python 3, without this, it is not working. Another Python is also there, 3, 4, or 1, 2, like that. What is this Python 3 only?
Python 3 is, the 3 is the version number. Actually.
Version.
Yeah.
Okay. This will work in Python 3 only.
Yeah, so see, there are, but Python 2, I think, has reached end of life. So there are no one
without
is,
that, without selecting this Python 3, the code does not work.
Right. I mean, it depends on where you are executing it. So in some systems, Python by default will point to Python 3. In other systems, I mean, Python may point to Python 2.7 or something.
Okay.
So
one version we have to select.
Yeah, 3. So this course uses 3.
This uses course 3. Up to the examination, it will use 3.
No, yeah, up to the exam, but entire program. In fact, around the world, Python 3 is what is being used. I mean, there might be some.
In which version we should practice? So that
3. So 3 is the only
You can
3.
check the latest version if you want. You can check for 3.8 or 3.9.
Yeah. That is the, in some version. In other PCs and other laptops, somewhere it is 3.7, somewhere it is 3.8.2, like that.
You can use Replit. No, Replit is.
Replit.
Yeah, why you use Replit? Why you want to download?
Yeah, Replit. It is also saying 3.8.1.2, like that.
Yeah. That's good.
All the 3.8, 3.2, 3.7, all are 3, version 3, Python 3.
Yeah. 3.8 major version. No?
Okay, so can you please explain the code?
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yeah.
Here I have taken a word which is of string type. Then it will check the word whether it is of odd type or even type. Then if it is of odd type, that we have to divide it by 2, and the remainder is, if it is equal to not is equal to 0, then that word will be odd. Then it will enter into this if condition, where I have taken the length of the word and then I have subtracted it with 3. I have subtracted it with 3 because we have to take the 3 consecutive terms. And then I have divided it with 2, so that I will get the first number which of the substring which is required. Then I have put this number in substring 2, and then I have calculated the index of this substring, and which will start from substring 1 to substring 3. And then I have printed this. And if the word is not odd, then it will enter into the else condition. And this else condition works like this. If I have taken the last index of this word, and the last index is if it ends with full stop, then it will enter inside the if condition, where I have cut down the full stop and made it odd. And then the same procedure which I have done at the top, I have repeated the procedure and printed the substring. And similarly, I have done the whole thing and
Okay.
printed the.
Okay, so just a few suggestions here. See, the question, there is a certain flow in the question, right? So what is the question asking you? The first thing it asks you is, if it is of odd length, then just leave it as it is. If it is even length, then you do this operation, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so then what? Finally, you have to work with a string of odd length.
Yes, sir. I have made it the string as odd. When it is even, then I have changed it to odd string.
Correct. Right. So what you should, I mean, I won't say what you should. What you could do is, instead of doing this part, right, of sub 1, sub 2, and here it's sub 4, sub 5, you're essentially doing this, repeating this 3 times, right?
Yes, sir.
You have to do it only once, right? If the point is, you convert the string to one of odd length and then you work with the odd length string. Okay, so what you have done is not wrong, but you could have pushed it the odd string computation to one side and then done the substring part at the end. Okay, that's just one suggestion.
Okay, sir.
Maybe it is not very clear now. Once we see some other pieces of code, it will become clear. Okay, I'll just pick from that. Okay, so this passes all test cases. Let's go to some other solution.
Okay, sir.
Okay, I will show you this code. Okay, so this is Aditya, right? Aditya, this is your code, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is what I was talking about. So, see here, what is done is, this substring business is done only once. Okay, that should be done only once, and the majority of the code is all about getting this odd string here, right, or odd length string here. So if it is even, then you make it of odd length as follows. If not, you just retain it as it is. Okay, so you look at the jump from one step to the other.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is one improvement that you could do, which is start with this section, which is asking you to come up with a string of odd length. And once you have the odd length string, then you do this substring business. So there are two divisions. You see, your code is divided into two parts. So this part is substring part of your code, and this part is all about. So what is this called? This is getting an odd length string. Okay, so this is a very well written piece of code, because again that same the readability comes in, and you are also able to clearly demarcate two different aspects or two different blocks of your code. One where a particular thing is being computed, and in the second part where something else is being done. And finally, you are printing the substring. Right? So is everyone able to see the way the code is designed?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, so these things are important, because you need to see what each piece of code is doing, not look at it linearly, right? So line 1 to line 17, if you write one piece of code, that's good. That's not bad, but you need to slowly get to the stage where you can clearly define different pieces of code doing different things, right? So this is a very good solution. Okay. All right, so I don't want to look at other solutions because we have already spent enough time. So let's move to PPA 7.
So could you explain the last code print part? N plus 1 plus 1.
Okay. See, that disappeared because I didn't submit it. Okay. So this is this might be tricky for some who have not seen this, but this is a very important line of code. Okay, line 11, you'll keep seeing it throughout the course. So Aditya, you want to explain what you have done here? Okay. Maybe I will explain it. So what is happening is, if you have a string of odd length, say A, B, C, D, C, H, E, so this has a length 9. Then what you are essentially looking for is the middle 3 letters, right? Which is basically D, E, F.
Yes, sir.
What is this D, E, F? It's nothing but you get to the midpoint of the string. So if you have an odd length string, then it always has a well-defined midpoint, right? So A, B, C, D, F, G, H, I. So E is the midpoint. So the middle 3 strings is nothing but one string or one character to the left of the midpoint. Basically, it is D, and one character to the right of the midpoint. So the whole point now becomes, how do you find the midpoint of an odd length string? Okay, so the midpoint is nothing but the length of the string by 2, and you take the integer part of it. That's why you do a floor division. Okay, so 9 by 2 is what? It's 4, right? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so if you want DEF, what you will do is you will do word of 3 to word of 6, 3, 4, 5.
Yes, sir, got it.
Okay, so I hope the others also got it, because this is a very important thing that will keep repeating throughout the course. How to find the middle string or middle character in a string. You do this.
My code is not passing all the test cases. May I paste this code?
Yeah.
See, I have pasted the code in the chat box.
Sir, can you explain the previous code once?
Yeah, so I'll just paste this here. Okay, which part do you want me to explain in the previous code?
So I think my code is correct,
Actually,
but it's not passing all the test cases.
Sir, if you can take through the whole code itself, sir. First one, sorry.
I'm sorry, which line?
Not a line, the whole code.
No, you must tell me which part of the code you didn't understand. Otherwise, it's, I mean, I obviously you would have understood line 1, right? So
The length of S that is modulo 2 equal to 0. So that why are we doing that?
that is a part of the question, right? So we are asking if the string is of even length or not. So the string is of even length, you leave it as it is. Sorry, if it's of odd length, you leave it as it is. If not, you have to do all this removing a
Can you
period.
go? So go to the code just once. Yes, sir. So else word equal to S plus the full stop.
Yeah.
So why are we doing that? That is to indicate that it's end of a.
No. Have you read the question? The question is only asking you to do this. If the last character is not a period, then add a period.
Okay, sir. I'll just check it out.
Okay, now I think you can maybe, if if you didn't understand this, then you can maybe rewind the live session recording, because the rest of it is explained.
Yeah. So it will be on YouTube, no, sir? Later we can
Yeah. Okay, so this is okay.
So yes, sir, that video she was asking from Tom. Sorry, I continue.
Yeah. So what is your? It's not passing, right? That's the point.
It's not passing all the test cases.
Okay, let's see what you have done. You have accepted a word, and you are calling word against string. Why are you doing that? You could have directly accepted the word as a. Oh, you are doing something else. Okay. Okay. So see, this is equality is different from assignment. Okay, you should not use double equal to.
Okay.
So that is one possible error. And better to avoid R strip, okay, because R strip is dangerous. It will run this. If this doesn't work, then the problem is because of R
It
strip.
won't work because L is the length of the string which we have, which has inputted, right? You have to take the length of the word.
Right.
Oh, nice. Got it. Now I got it.
And
Yes.
sir, the the substring she's taken. Well, that's okay.
Yeah, right. So the other problem is, length is one problem. The other problem is the R strip. Okay, so if your word happens to be something like A B C D dot dot dot, okay, several dots, then R strip will remove all the dots.
Okay.
Okay, so that is also better to just slice the string or something along those lines.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right, so we are moving on to problem number 7. Okay, we already had some Sarthak Kavita, we have seen your quotes. Someone whose code I have not seen. Okay, some of you have been pasting for a very long time, so we'll probably look at Priyanshi's code. Okay. Okay, can you tell me what you have done here? Are you there on the call? I guess not. So in which case?
Sir, can I tell? That's the code which I also.
All right. Yeah. Anyone? Yeah. Pankaj, yes, please go ahead.
Okay, sir. Sir, firstly, I take 5 words as input, and then W1, W2, W3, W4, W5 as input, 5 words, and then I check word by word. That is, if W1 in W2, I check, and then I check I take W1 as substring of W2. Then W2 is a substring of W3. And similarly, I check W4, W3, W4, and W5. And if previous word is substring of next word, then I print magical. Else I print non-magical.
All right. Yeah, that is right. So the only thing I would maybe suggest is, just to be safe, we can have these parentheses here.
Okay, sir. Bracket
becomes a little more clear also what we are doing.
Okay,
so
sir.
That is it, right? So this is a valid solution. This is simple and neat. Anything else that we have? Okay, Ratish. Okay, so does this work?
It does work.
Okay, but this, okay, then we should probably change our.
I wanted to avoid
Can't we use in
keyword.
operator?
Sorry?
Can't we use the in function in operator?
Yeah, that was the previous
operator
solution.
was not used in the week 2 lessons, so I wanted to avoid it.
Okay, anyway, so see, this may pass all test cases, but this is not correct, right?
So what does count do? Can you explain?
So can you explain what's happening here?
Oh, okay, sorry. Count is counting if the particular substring, how many times the substring occurs in, how many times str1 occurs in str2, right?
Yeah.
So that count is greater than 0, then it's a substring. Likewise, str2 is in str3, so you're checking for that. If that is also positive, then you check if.
I think that has to be, it is anyway positive.
Yeah, that is why it works, but just for the sake of clarity, let's make it. Okay, I think this is also valid, right? So this is also valid, but it caught me off guard because usually in the course we use count for single character counting, like how many characters are there in a string. So the substring business is also valid. Yeah.
So there is another code in the chat where someone has used find. Will that also work?
Find, that is find, which, can you tell me who has used Kavita has used? Find.
So I think it's Kavita one.
Yeah, find.
Yeah, it's working actually. I searched for that function.
Okay. So this, you are looking at the interesting. So now, can you tell me what will happen if I use index instead of find?
I tried using index, sir, but when it is not existing, it is just throwing an error. So I avoided using that.
Right, that's a good point. So find is better than index, therefore we have used it. So that's a good point. Yeah, so this also works.
Sir, what is the function of find? I can't understand. Actually.
Find is actually, it's looking at this substring, and if this substring is there in this particular string, it's returning the index of the beginning index of that substring. So we just explain it using words. It will be tough.
What is the first character's index? First character's index.
Okay, this is asking me for all this training. Maybe what I'll do is I'll take one example here. So if your word 1 is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and word 2 is C, D, E, right? And you print what is the index of word 2 in word 1, right? So this will obviously throw an error, but I just so the answer is 2, right? So why is the answer 2? Because this is 0, 1, 2. The first character of your substring, first of all, the substring should be there. So CDE is there in this, and it begins from the index 2 in word 1, 0, 1, 2.
So can you please explain why here we have used nested if? Can we use similar to previous one, like what was used in count, writing them in single line, or that's not possible here?
Yeah, that is also possible, but this is not wrong, but yeah, See, why this has been done is if it is not greater than 0, then you can just exit with this else. If at any stage of the nesting you find that it is not there, then you just go to the corresponding else and you say it's not magical.
Basically, I wanted to avoid the confusion of putting so many things in one line, so I thought it's simplified way. That's why I put that way. Actually.
Right.
So could you also explain the index part, the one you were discussing with her?
Yeah, so the index is, the point about index is, let's say you take up something like CD, or let's say something certainly not there. So if you want to find, instead of calling it word 2, let's just call it some sub. So it's a substring. So you want to find the index of the substring. If you run this.
So in the second part, you should write, I guess, index instead of find.
Okay, yeah. So what happens is, it says -1, find says -1, whereas index says that the substring is not found. Okay, so, and it doesn't say that gracefully. What it does is it throws an error or an exception, as we call it. So your code will just get stuck at that point. And so if you use index, the problem is your code will not, and if the substring is not found, the code will get stuck here or will stop execution here. However, if you use find, then nothing, no harm has been done. Your code will continue execution. Right? If it is not found.
Yes, sir, got it.
Yeah. So it returns -1. So if in case someone is thinking why this greater than or equal to 0 is there, that's the reason. So find is, if it is not found, it will return -1 and you will just stop that. Okay, so we are kind of done and we are short of 3 problems which we should, I think, discuss. Yeah, I don't want to do it at the end. It's a very interesting problem.
Yes, sir, very tricky. It's kind of very tricky problem.
Yeah, so let's keep it at the beginning of the next session and not at the end of this session. So does anyone have any questions so far?
Yes, sir. So in this magical thing, sir, I tried to do this using another method. So, but the answer is not coming. Sir, I'll just paste the code in the chat box. So can you please check?
Yeah.
One second. So this.
Okay, so for all beginners, don't be afraid of this. Okay, so
No, sir, just a general term, sir. No.
One second. What is happening?
So it's giving invalid syntax error. It's giving a syntax error in line 9.
Okay, so this actually is not. It should in fact throw
Is the colon missing, sir?
Colon is missing.
Colon is missing. Yeah.
Right. Okay, right. My bad. In line 9, sir. After while. Right. My bad.
Okay, but if you run it now, it will give you an index error. If you run this now, if you test run.
Yeah.
Yes,
So I have to
after
write
reaching
J is
4,
less
so
than
it will
less
check
than
it in
4.
index
J is less
5,
than
then it
4.
will throw an index error.
Right.
No, not till there. It will throw an index error here itself because you can't assign a list this way. So you can either append to a list or you can add elements to a list, concatenate list. So this is not the syntax for appending to a
It's
list.
not an array,
Lists are
right,
not
sir?
mutable.
Lists
No,
are
this,
mutable, but you should append it instead of assigning like this, because
yeah.
if you are assigning like this, then that index number should be present over there, but it is a blank list initially.
Yeah, so yeah, this is not.
I think the only way is to
So we
append
can't do it this
actually,
way.
not
No, you can't see. This is incorrect Python syntax. This is a syntax error. in
Right.
fact.
So I have to append it.
Yes, you should append it, right?
Okay. Okay.
So did he try to assign it something like an array type? Or...
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so
I have just one question, sir.
Yeah.
General. Sir, here on the PPAs, if you scroll up, it says that date as May 1, right? Submission date by May 1st. Can you scroll up, sir? Yes, sir. So, but the term itself is ending in April. So, what are we? How do we? What's going to be the benefit of submitting and for grading and also?
No grading, right? I mean, there's no grading for these things for PPS. It is only
for practice, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's see. Chess problem we have. Then we have what? Okay, we'll do this gold coin problem. Okay, because that can certainly be done. In another 5-10 minutes we can do. So those who are there in the call, can someone paste the solution to this problem? So you have to divide this.
So which PPA is this?
This is I think 9. Okay, so Kavita GK, I have already taken your code. So let's Sarthak. Anyone else whose code I have not looked at so far, can you paste? Okay, Hussein. I have not seen Hussein's code. See, if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly or if I'm pronouncing your last name as first name, you should tell me, okay?
No, sir, it's correct.
Okay, so what you have is you have n gold coins and you should divide it among 3 of your friends. You are very generous, so all of them should get a non-zero share. Finally, you should not have any coins with you. So you are so generous that you want to give everything away. And the additional condition is that no 2 of your friends should get the same number of coins. Okay, so in case you have not read the question, yeah. So can you explain how to say, please?
Yes, sir. So the first X will be the coins which I have, and ABC are the friends. And what else is that? Okay, so in the condition, I first check that the third condition I satisfy, that you should not have any coins with you at the end of the sharing process. So X should equal to A plus B plus C, and thus in the next 3 conditions, A not equal to B and B not equal to C and A not equal to C, I check the second one. So no 2 of them should get the same number of coins. And in the third one, I check the first condition, which is all 3 of them should not get a non-zero share. So A should be greater than 0, B should be greater than 0, and C should be greater than 0. So then it's a fair distribution. Otherwise, it's an unfair distribution.
Okay, very nice. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll execute this just to be sure that it runs. All test cases are passing. Yes. Okay, so this is powerful one single line if, right? So this is the first condition, or I don't know which condition it is, but which is asking you if you have given away all your coins. And
can you put the parenthesis in the right place, sir?
May I put the parenthesis in?
Right, because earlier you have done the same for another code.
Okay, yeah, you could do that. So, but here might be tricky. So see, generally some editors allow you to enter code on the next line. I don't know if our portal's editor allows that. Replit, for example, you can go into the next line and do something like this. So this is a multi-line if that I'm writing, which basically says you open your bracket here, and so this is one condition. So I'll remove the shape. This probably is not needed. So this is one condition, and the whole thing is another condition. So basically, A not equal to B, B not equal to C, C not equal to A. Okay, and finally you have yeah, A greater than 0, B greater than 0, C greater than 0. That is another condition. Okay, so
in line number 7.
Sir, in line number 6, you
conditional statements and go in the second line also.
no, in line number 6, you need to close the second braces.
No, so that is for the entire thing.
Okay, you are closing it at last.
Right. So for some reason this doesn't. I think this our portal doesn't allow this. Throws a syntax error or something, or indentation error. I don't know. Sometimes it will. Okay, it works. Okay, fine. Good that it works. Okay, so this is another piece of suggestion. When you're writing when you're stringing together several if conditions, what you could do is you could split it this way. So, for example, this corresponds to say condition. I don't know which condition it is, but the third condition, right? You should not have any coins with you. So this is condition number 3, which you are essentially checking, and then this share of no two friends should be the same. That is condition number 2. And finally, all of them should receive a non-negative share, right? Or rather a non-zero share. Okay, so it's a suggestion from our side that when you club together several if conditions, you kind of divide this and make it multi-line. Okay, anyone has any problems or confusions or doubts with this particular piece of code?
Yes, sir. Sir, my code passes only 4 out of 6 test cases. Can you consider at chat box?
So first doubt in this code. So
Okay,
what is
finish
x
this.
equal? Yeah.
Yeah.
What is x equal to a plus b plus c doing?
That is
Yes,
this
sir.
condition.
Same doubt, sir.
Okay, that is this condition, right?
I think this code is really very good, sir. Actually, I think
You should not have any coins with you at the end of the process. So x is the number of coins that you have. So you have to divide it among all of your friends. So a plus b plus c is the number of coins with your friends. X is the number of coins with you. So that is what this. It's checking if condition 3 is satisfied.
So how is this checking? I don't understand.
See, you are giving a coins to your friend, friend 1, b coins to friend 2, and c coins to friend 3. So the number of coins with your friends is now a plus b plus. Okay, and the number of coins that you have to start with is x. So you are asking if that the two are same. So if the two are not same, then that means either you are
something remaining.
either you have something remaining, or it means that you have given more coins than you have.
Okay. Got it, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, Pankaj, you want me to check your code now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The first one, whose code was this? Really, really nice code, sir.
Sorry.
This one, the first one, even in single line also, it was really clear. This one is very good.
Right. If one not equal, see, this happens when you don't use brackets. But here it's not about brackets. We are missing out this first condition, the third condition maybe.
Yes, sir. Adding all three friends and checking and equating to equal to 0.
Yeah.
Yes. Got it, sir.
Okay. So anyone else who has a problem with this particular problem, this particular PPA that you want to? Okay, there is someone who Ayush has written this code using different variable names. You would like to look at that. This is nice. So you have accepted my coin as input, and then friend 1, friend 2, friend 3. And then the total number of coins is whatever is there with you minus what you have given to your friends. So if the share of any one of the friends is less than, is equal to 0, then you have a problem with that. So you print unfair. If not, you go in and you check if the total is 0. If not, you print unfair. If the total is not 0, then the condition is also satisfied. Right. So this is also a valid way of solving the problem, but I found it to be different from the others.
So my code is still giving an error. I don't know why. I checked it once again. So can I paste in the chat box?
The previous question, huh?
No, this one. Yeah, the math coins one. That.
Okay, yeah.
So I did this.
Sir, can you discuss the chessboard problem?
So I did not. Sir, I got it. I did not give the colon again. My bad.
Okay. Right, chessboard, maybe we'll come to it later. But
okay, sir.
I want to discuss it, but we are kind of already 15 minutes. We have.
So could you discuss the R strip function?
R strip, is it? So the R strip is actually not needed. So at this stage, I would say it could be confusing because it can be a bit tricky, right? So we'll come to strip, R strip, L strip when we do file handling in week 9. Okay. So until that time, we can actually you won't have to use R strip that much, but suffice it to say you can quickly try out a few cases. So defining a string, and usually you use R strip to strip the string of trailing white spaces. So for example, if you use x dot strip, what it will do is it will remove the last white space that you see, right? If you have several white spaces, the string that it will return is A, B, C, D, E without the spaces. So typically you use it for that. So if you remember that, that's enough. R strip will strip white spaces from the right side. L strip will do from the left side alone. Strip will do from both sides.
Okay, sir. Sir, does that white spaces include full stop?
No, only white space.
Okay.
So if you want to strip if you want to remove the full stop, you have to specifically mention the character that you want to remove. So if you don't mention any character, then by default it's a space.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so how many of you are there on the call? Does it make sense to do? Okay, so I think folks are still there, but okay, maybe let's just problem 10 alone that we just Okay, someone who has not done so far, Arad, paste your code. So essentially what we have to do is we have to print the greatest integer less than or equal to x, and then the smallest integer greater than or equal to x. This seems to be a very simple piece of code.
But sir, it passes only 5 of the 7 private test cases.
Okay, so okay, can you explain your logic? Then we'll look at it.
So first I took the input as float and then initialized y as the integer part of it. Then we need to first print the greatest integer less than or equal to x. So that will be y itself. So I printed y, and then if the what x and y are equal, that is the float one and the integer one are equal, then that means it is an integer. The what we got is an integer. So I printed that integer because the next what has to be printed is the smallest integer greater than or equal to x. And if it is not an integer, then I printed x plus y plus 1.
Right, right. So, okay, so can someone tell me what case is being missed here?
Sir, negative.
Negative, yeah.
Right, so you're missing out on the negative values of x, for which you have to just, int of x will not be the greatest integer less than or equal to x. It will in fact be the other way around. It will be the smallest integer greater than or equal to x.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so that is the one thing you have to fix. Let's now look at code that is a working code.
Mine works.
Okay, we'll take that Sarthak because it uses nice words, nice variable names. Okay, so this is the division. So do you want to explain? Sarthak?
You said something?
Yeah, do you want to explain what you have done?
Yes, sir. First we take the input and convert it in a float and store it in x. Then first we check if it is greater than 0 or less than 0. So this is the if else if. And then if it first for the float function as you said in the previous code, we just have to convert it to int. So the floor takes the int of x, right? And for the
Yeah, please go on.
For the ceiling function, we check if the converted x we stored it for is equal to the actual input we have, right? So if it is the same, then if it is the same, we save it as seal. Otherwise, we add +1. The same thing is repeated for if it is less than 0.
Right. Okay. So this it's a very good, very well written piece of code. Again, nice division into two parts. One for greater than 0 and one for less than 0. And the other nice thing is that there is only one place where the floor and ceiling are getting printed. And the respective computations happen inside the if else blocks.
So one query over here.
Yeah.
What will happen if I give 0 over here?
If you give 0, then it's a good question.
Error, I guess.
Throw an error. Yeah.
Error, I guess.
So we just need to,
You can initialize as 0.
Greater than or no, for greater than or equal to 0, I think it will work.
No,
X equal to 0.
Yeah, if I convert it either in if or in else if, another equal to besides the
because even if you initialize it at 0, it's not getting handled. So you have to put, if I think you have to put x is greater than or equal to 0, then it will work.
No, this will work, right? If it's 0, then int of x is floor.
Yeah,
so,
now it will work. Now it will work.
That's what I was saying.
It's a good point. Yeah, 0 case we need to have. Right, so this could be hard. This is kind of a hard problem. So does anyone have any queries with this problem? We'll join it.
So I'm again having a problem, and it's not any syntax error this time. So can you please check?
Yeah, I'll check that. But before that, does anyone have any problem with this solution? Does everyone understand this? What is happening?
So in this code, I have not
Yes, sir.
understood what is going on in this code.
Okay, which line do you? Okay. Okay, see what's happening is, if you take an example, let's say 3.5, then int of x is what? Int of x is 3. Okay, so int of x is in some sense what? The floor of x. Floor meaning the greatest integer less than or equal to this particular number is 3. Right? So that is what this means. So floor will be 3, and then ceiling is nothing but one above that, right? So ceiling is equal to 4. So ceiling is just floor plus 1, which is equal to 4. So all this is fine.
So how ceil 4, sir?
Because the integer above 3.5 is the ceiling, right? That is 4. See, floor and ceiling are like bottom and top. So 3.5 is sandwiched between 3 and 4.
Yes.
Okay, so the question is, what happens when you pass an integer? So if x itself happens to be an integer, then the ceiling and floor of 3 is nothing but 3 itself. So for that, what you do is you have this line number 7 which checks if where is that now? This line number 8. So if the floor is x itself, in which case it means that you are actually dealing with an integer. So that's why you are saying ceiling is equal to floor.
Floor, yeah.
If not, then it's not an integer, so you increase the floor by 1 to get the ceiling. Now, same logic is applied to less than 0, but here, if you take say minus 3.5, the floor is actually minus 4 and the ceiling is actually minus 3. Right? So the number is sandwiched between minus 4 and minus 3. So if you take int of minus 3.5, you will get minus 3, which is the ceiling. Okay, so you have to do floor minus ceiling minus 1 to get the floor for the negative part.
Yes, sir. Got it. Completely understand. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So this is yeah. So alright, is that it? Anything else?
Sir,
Yes, sir, can I share my
once
code?
again in this code, else part, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, here if the value is minus 3.5, then the ceil will be
Yeah,
minus
ceil will be
3.
1. Yeah, it will be minus 3.
Yes, minus 3. After that, if ceil equal x.
That is the same. So you are just checking if this is an integer or not. So for the positive part, you check the floor and x. Here you check the ceiling and x. So that's the only difference.
Sir, here suppose x is equal to 3.5. Okay, and then we have ceil it to 4, and ceil is equal to 4 now.
Right.
Okay, and where are we doing the flooring part?
So if it is 3.5, then it's positive, right? So the easiest way is to get the floor first. If you take the integer part of a positive real number, you will get the float because you are truncating the decimal part, right? So you will get the
Okay.
float.
Okay. Okay, so thank you.
So
Yeah.
may I?
Yeah, you can share your code.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I did the floor division thing with 1 to get the floor, and then added 1 to that to the result of that to get the ceiling. But my private test in my private test only 4 of them are being passed. But like when I checked with negative and positive numbers, it is kind of working when I checked it in Reflect.
Okay, I'll get to that, right?
Yes, sir.
Hey, okay, come on, man. This uses too many things. We'll get to this at the end, right? So if there is anything you have done which doesn't
No, sir.
use,
That's the thing. Everything adds up. It's just that my private test cases aren't working. Everything is correct. I've checked it. I've rechecked it. It's just that the private test cases aren't working. Everything checks out.
okay, but why would you? So why do you want to use eval of input of type of X?
I don't know, sir. Just the first thing that came to my mind.
I mean, really, eval type is okay, I understand, but why eval? So this is the problem is with this. So you should have written this as this would print an extra space somewhere. Yeah, you are printing on extra space.
Right. The problem was where?
You are printing an extra space here in print / and something you had written, right? You had
right.
That was printing one space more than an unnecessary space. It was printing.
Yeah, Python by default adds a space if you use comma.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right.
So the default step value is space.
Okay, right. Okay.
Yeah, it was in one of the PPAs of week 1.
Right. So I will look at now these code features.
So one general question, what does eval do? I have came across eval function previous also.
Eval kind of evaluates your, so if you pass a list, it will, if you just pass a string, it will give you a list back. So it's kind of tricky. It's best if you don't look at eval now, right?
Okay.
See, the reason is knowing eval now prevents you from, see, we use eval, okay, at the evaluation side, we use eval a lot. But it's best for beginners not to know about eval because eval makes certain things very simple. Okay, so anything that makes your life simple at this stage is dangerous. Okay, so
okay, sir.
So in week 12, I will tell you what eval does. Until then, please don't look at it.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
So how long this class will go?
That's all. Like, this is the last question. So I just want to know. Why this is not working.
So when you're using int, why would you want to divide by 1? Floor divide by 1. You're already using int.
No, first it is dividing and then converting it to int.
Yeah, it is first.
Anyways, it will give the same result.
What is the point?
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, see, he's using float of input of. That's why he's using int. So if you just use.
No, so
but anyway, she's dividing by 1 only, no? So it can be only int as well.
No.
So you can use either one of the two, right?
No. So see, if you if t is a float, then whether you use float division or normal division, the result will be a float.
Oh yeah, makes sense. Right. If one is a float, then the net will always
exactly the his point is something like if you are using int, then you need not to divide it by 1.
Exactly, sir. That's what.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, anything divided by 1 is that number only.
So Lee is there on the call?
Yes, sir.
So why have you done it this way? Can you explain?
So what I did is, so basically when we use the floor division, it will give the integer part of it, right? If it is like a real number, like it will basically ignore the decimal part and give. So when you divide the number, any number by 1, you will basically get the same number. So I just used that floor division as a way to get the positive, that what is
Yeah. So see, there is a reason why you have done it, and it's not like why not use just int. I don't think that's the answer. So we are missing something here. Let's just run it and see. So it's passing these two test cases because it's positive. Now the question is,
so I checked.
So negatives.
Again, negative numbers.
For negatives, the thing would be inversed.
Yes, sir. If you divide like minus 1.2 floor division 1, the answer would be -2, not -1.
Oh.
Also, it doesn't work
For negatives,
integers.
the greatest integer less than equal to x would be, the one which is.
Yeah. So that's the point. So this returns the floor of t always. Then it should work, right? So one second.
For negative, sir, it should be different, na? For negative, it should be the other way.
For
na,
negatives
sir?
also,
Because
it works.
+1, it will not be bigger.
when
It
I
will be
put-
smaller.
No,
When
one
you
second.
divide by 1, it's just truncating the decimal
No,
part.
no.
So even for negatives, it will.
That's what he told. So see this, whatever he has done is reasonably correct. So it's not like it just truncates. It's not just truncation. So what I have written here is this. What t //1 returns the floor of t always. Meaning what?
Okay.
Yes, it will always give the number that is lowest to it, right? The lower.
This doesn't work for integers, right? Maybe that's the reason it's not working. So the point is not that it's negative; it's that it doesn't work for integers.
Okay.
Integers
Sir, in case of negative also, if suppose you take -2, okay.
Can you give
So
like an
first it will
example?
print
Because-
-2 and then it will print -1. So -1 is actually greater than.
No, one second. So I just sort this thing. See, if t double equal to t, then you do print t and print t. Okay. Else you do whatever you have done. So what you have done for float values has to be correct. So let's just test run this. Test run will work. Okay, so this should also work. Oh, it's not. Why is it not working?
Yes, sir. In case of negative, maybe
No, sir, like, let me ask.
inverse.
So,
In case of 0,
Wait.
sir, in case of 0,
as in my code.
Yeah, but yeah, so let's.
Sir, because
part,
I'll tell you
right?
why it's not working.
Hmm,
I can tell why it's not working. Because suppose if you take -2, okay, so it will print -2 first and it will try printing -1 first, wherein it is showing that it should be greater than or equal to, which is smallest integer, which is not equal to this now. So it is not greater than.
Sir, the error here is, sir, in the first
Smallest
line
nahi
we're
hai na, it is
converting.
not smallest one.
So in the first line we're converting into float, then we are
correct.
into int. So
Wait, yeah, you are right. So this should be, I should print the int of t. That is the reason it's not working. Okay.
oh, so like for integers.
What exactly happened? Here?
Yeah. So once again, so I see since he asked, so see what you have done here is correct. Okay. The only thing you have missed is that for an integer, you should just print the integer as it is.
Okay, sir. Okay, I actually didn't get that logic. Like the integer bit, I thought you should go for the lowest and the highest thing after that.
Correct. So see, t this always returns the floor of t, right?
Yes,
That is how it
will
works.
be the integer itself, but I think the ceiling bit
Ceiling
is the
bit,
portion.
yeah, ceiling bit will be just this plus 1. It's just floor of t plus 1.
Yeah, that is where the error happens with integers.
And that is where the error happens with the integers. Yeah, you are right.
Sir, I didn't understand this code. Could you please explain?
Yeah, so see, even I don't know. This actually happened 2 terms back. Okay, so this question we asked, and I had this complex if else condition, but someone just answered it by just doing this floor division. Floor division with 1.
It's actually a really good solution.
Yeah.
Yeah, sir. It's really concise and pretty.
Sir, one query over here. Why can't just int t will work, and why t /1 will work?
Yeah, because the int of t truncates the integer. Okay, so whatever it is, it doesn't bother about the sign or anything.
Okay.
So it just truncates the integer. But what floor division does is it converts it up to the form. So if you're doing a, so
so it will work for negative also. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so it is doing this divisor. What is that? Divisor dividend by divisor is equal to what? This bq plus r essentially. So so your remainder, your quotient will in some sense be so let's take an example of
Rounded off, if that's correct.
Yeah, so let's take the example of minus 3.4. Minus 3.4 by 1 is minus 4.
Oh, that's cool. That's a great code actually.
Yeah, so this plus what will be the
plus 1. I don't know, sorry, not plus 1.
So plus 0.25 plus 1 by 4.
Plus 0.6, right?
Yeah, 6 by 3 by 0.6.
Something like this. So if you in fact if you print these two, right? Let me just print the very same thing. Minus 3.4 by 1 and minus 3.4 percentage 1. But let's see what we get. Minus 3.4 by 1 is minus 4 and the other one is 0.6. Right, so this Euclid's division lemma, if you remember or if you have seen that before, that's exactly what is coming into play here.
So what exactly does this floor division thing do here? What is the exact use of it?
It returns the floor. So t t floor division 1 will always return the floor of t. That's what it finally
do
means.
t floor divide by 2?
Then you have to apply this formula. So if you do minus 3.4 by 2, then it will do, I don't know, so 1 point. So you essentially have to convert it into this form.
So by 1 also, how minus 4 came?
It's a good question. Why did minus 4 come is?
So that's exactly what I'm asking. I mean, what is the exact methodology that this floor division thing uses?
See, floor division is doing what? When you divide some number by a number, so it always go by up to that number or lower than that, right? So if it is can't go to that 3.4, then what is the lower than that? Lower than that is up to 4, minus 4. Yes. So,
okay, so
that's why.
In short, Python is aware of numbers being negative.
Exactly. Python is more smarter than us.
Yeah.
It is rounding
so 3.4 floor divided by 2 would be equal to 2.
Not 2.
No, 1 I think.
No.
It'll be 1.
Yeah,
no.
So 3.4 that
minus
will be 1, right?
Yeah, minus 1.
3.4 divided by 2 is that is 1 and remainder 1.4.
Right?
But if it is minus 3.4, then it will go by I guess so.
Minus 2, right?
Minus 2 it should be right.
No,
minus 2.
Minus 2.
What would be 3.4 floor divided by 2?
That will be
minus 2 is greater than minus 3.4, so it will not go to the minus 2.
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry.
It will go
minus,
by.
No, but Sumit, minus 3 by 4 divided by 2, no? So it should be minus 1 point something. So it should be minus 2.
Minus 2. I think minus 2.
Yeah, minus 2 only.
Okay, so this you can try it out. Maybe if you want, if you really want to check this, we could probably check this. But so it -2 plus whatever, right? So I mean, I think we can check this. You know.
So maybe what this does is it first divides, it computes the division, it computes the normal division, and then takes the floor of it.
Yes.
Internally, I don't know what it does.
Yes,
but
that is what it does.
So could you expand this code
Actually,
once?
it is the flow division. No, itself. Double slash is
Flow
already a
division.
flow division.
So how this 0.6 came?
So this 0.6 is nothing but once you have computed the floor, then it's just the remainder, right? You want minus 3.4. So yeah, so I think we are like well past time. So the chess problem alone is missing. So we'll probably
So just a line number 6, can you explain how is 2.0 equal to 2 if you take an integer here? Is 2.0 equal to 2? Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right then. Okay, so thanks for joining. I think we are well past.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Good night, everyone.
Good
night.
Sir,
The next
sir,
class
my-
on which day?
I think next is on Tuesday.
Sir, my request regarding the sharing of this chart also, is it possible, sir?
Yeah, I think we have to look into that, but we'll get back to you on this. I have to ask the concerned team. I haven't done that.
That could be beneficial when we are studying kind of things, sir. Unilateral thinking will not be there. Just like this float, just we have discussed 30 minutes more than expected, sir.
Yeah, sure. I'll get back to you.
Thanks a lot, sir.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, will we be taught bitwise operators?
No.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Good night, sir.
Bye.